men's 10-meter platform today, and after 7 rounds of dives, Patrick Jeffrey has regained the lead over Chris Mantilla. He has about a 10-point lead over Chris. The rest of the field, Pichler, Bertram especially, is pulling a little bit closer each round of dives. And we're going to remember now the top 2 divers advance to the World Championships in Rome this year. That's what everyone's aiming for, especially this diver, Russ Bertram. He's had some trouble earlier in the first session, but he seems to be getting back into his winning ways. This is the reverse 2 1/2 somersault tuck, 2.7 degree of difficulty.
Now he's pulled up all the way from, I think he was in 7th place starting the rounds today, and now he's in 4th place. This is going to be a major miracle if he can come anywhere near the top 2 after these 10 rounds of dives. We're in round 8. This could be his best dive. It's reverse 2 1/2 somersault. Let's see. Not today, folks.
That was a real telling miss because of the low degree of difficulty, and like you said, it was his best dive.
Well, you know, Russ has been sick. He was in the hospital last week with a bacterial infection, and he hasn't been very strong, but this jump is strong. The dive is so strong, he goes right past vertical. He could actually probably do a reverse 3 1/2, but opts for the reverse 2 1/2. Unfortunately, that won't pay off.
If he'd have come right out, you would have been okay.
He didn't come out of the dive. That's what Ronnie O'Brien is saying.
And lift your head in, and your legs just kept on going. He didn't get out fast enough.
He said he didn't get out of the dive, left his head in, and his legs just went right past vertical.
And those low scores of force do reflect the criticism. Our next diver now is David Pichler, another diver at Fort Lauderdale, diving with Ron O'Brien. He's doing a back 3 1/2 somersault tuck, a 3.3 degree of difficulty.
Now, Pichler was 20 points back going into this round. I'm talking about being out of the top 2 spots. And this degree of difficulty could play a part there because Chris Mantilla has a lower degree of difficulty. This is one of his highest degree of difficulty dives. Nice dive. Now he's going to put the pressure on Mantilla, who is in 2nd place, and Patrick Jeffrey, because this is a very well performed, real high degree of difficulty dive. Look at that jump. Great double going by the platform, kick out strong, reach back just a little too much arch in his back. But this dive will receive above 7s, which is what you want on these high degree of difficulty dives. Barely knees apart in the tuck. Maybe a slight deduction for that, no more than ½ a point. Great dive.
In the scores, 7 1/2 and 8s, 75.24 points. Good scores for David Pichler. Sean Briscombe now is our next diver. This is his back 3 1/2 somersault tuck. Another 3 1/2 somersault, 3.3 degree of difficulty.
Now Sean's dropped back into 6th place, so he needs real high scores to get back in contention here. I'm talking 8s or above. Well, maybe half of that, maybe 4s on that. If he's lucky, actually. Because he was real flat on his back going in the water. That probably hurt a little bit. Let's check this dive on top. Take off. The knees come up fairly well. And he just comes out way too early. I can't believe that he saw his spot. I'm talking about his visual references. The water is what you look at before you kick your legs, and he just reacted really not well to that water.
And the scores are indeed low, not 4s, 3s and 2 1/2s for 27.72 total points on that dive. Chris Mantilla, he needs 7s.
Oh, he'll get 7s on that. See, now he's back into doing those rip entries. Makes a huge sound when he goes in the water from flattened palms. Let's see what Ron O'Brien has to say about that one. Well, we'll wait for Ronnie's comments. That's who's coaching him. But you can see a little knee bend in that pike position. There might have been a slight deduction for that, and there should have been because those knees were not quite stretched. But this entry is absolutely flawless. Perfect.
Chris Mantilla told us earlier he really likes diving before the crowd when the crowd's behind him, and they certainly were appreciative of those scores, 8s and even a 9 1/2. And back to Patrick Jeffrey. who is going to do the reverse 3 1/2 somersault tuck, 3.4 degree of difficulty. He needs 6.5s now to take the lead away from Chris Mantilla.
Okay, if everyone recalls, this is the hardest dive being done on the platform. There's a lot of pressure just to do the dive successfully, but it is a high degree of difficulty dive. 3.4. Well, with that dive there, Chris Mantilla will go back into the lead because Patrick Jeffrey just did what we saw Sean Briscombe do going backwards. He landed on his back going in the water. The jump is perfect. The distance from the platform is good. Not scary at all. He has an opportunity to do this dive. Well, kicks out too early. Again, doesn't seem to be using his visual references very well. We're going to see Chris Mantilla on the left do a reverse 2 1/2 somersault. A safer dive for him. Okay, there he completes his 2 1/2 somersault above the 5-meter platform, stretches for the water. Now that only carries a 2.7 degree of difficulty. On the other hand, Patrick Jeffrey does a 3 1/2 somersault at 3.4, an extra 7/10 degree of difficulty. But see, he completes it way down below the 5-meter, and that's what hurt him there. That's why he couldn't go in vertically.
And Cynthia, these scores are going to drop him into 3rd place. He now drops behind David Pichler. And we'll catch you up on those scores and the leaderboard when we come back with more diving after this. Let's get right to the leaderboard now of the men's 10-meter platform. After 8 rounds, Chris Mantilla jumps to a 20-point lead over David Pichler now, who's moved into 2nd. Remember, the top 2 go to the World Championships. David Pichler is a mere 8.22 points ahead of Patrick Jeffrey as we now go into the 9th round. And now David Pichler has a chance to extend a little bit of a cushion lead if he can do this dive, a reverse 3 1/2 somersault tuck, a 3.4 degree of difficulty. Remember, it's Patrick Jeffrey who comes up later in the contest who is right on his heels for this 2nd position.
This contest is far from over. In round 8, we had all kinds of things going on. Fruit basket turnover. We saw David Pichler jump up into one of the first 2 spots, and this is going to tell the story for him. It's his hardest dive. To stay in the contest, he needs at least 6.5s on the dive, in my opinion. And he will receive that.
Right.
That's right. He goes in the water with a little arch in his back, but he's able to clean it up. Doesn't make a lot of splash. The jump off the tower is very nice, pulling those knees into his chest, spinning fast enough to make the dive. Just saw a little bit of arch going in the water, but that's a real high degree of difficulty dive, so that'll pay off. And he will receive at least 6.5s on this, not maybe a whole lot more because of the stretch. But look at this takeoff. Ooh, I love this camera angle. You can see everything. The knees are a little apart. If the judges see that, they'll deduct. And also a little for the arch in his back.
And the scores are 7, 7, 6.5s, and 7s. Nicely done for David Pichler. Chuck Wade is next. He is going to do the back 3 1/2 somersault tuck, 3.3 degree of difficulty. Chuck has also been diving a bit erratically. He started the 2nd session in 3rd position, but he's been erratic and is currently in 5th position.
He's got some ground to make up here, but this is a place where he could do it because it's the back 3 1/2. It's 3.3 degree of difficulty. He could conceivably gain 20 points on the field, and he needs to do that to be in anywhere near contention, and that's still going to put him a little bit away from the top 2 spots.
Nice
Nice.
dive. We agree.
Stereo. I like this dive a lot, and we'll have a chance to compare this with Sean Briscombe in an earlier round. Briscombe is on the left, and he did a back 3 1/2 in round 8 that did not work out well for him. Look where he kicks his legs, down at the water. Now we're going to see the difference. Chuck Wade does a back 3 1/2. A terrific start on both of the dives, actually, but look where Chuck is going to kick. The angle that he kicks at, up towards that 5-meter tower, and he goes in the water almost without a splash. That's the best one we've seen today.
And the highest score today, too, Cynthia, 8.5s and 9s for a total score of 84.15 points for Chuck Wade. Chris Mantilla is next. Now, how would you like to follow that, Cynthia? He's doing a back 2 1/2 somersault pike, a 2.9 degree of difficulty, and for him to take the lead back away from Pichler, he's going to need 5.5 and 6s on this dive.
I don't think that's a problem. He is very, very confident. He's doing lower degree of difficulty dives, but remember, he's leading right now.
Right.
He has 20 points over the field. He needs that little cushion on these lower degree of difficulty dives, but his entries are so good, and he seems to know where he is in the air. Look at him looking at the water right there, and he looks back at the water again. Again, too much arch in his back, but it's fine. He's still going to be in the contest. In fact, he'll probably still be leading. Now look, he picks his legs up. He's looking at the water right there, and that's when he lets go, grabs for the water behind him, and he sees it to go for that rip entry.
Already with the Walkman on, he's not even listening for the score. 7.5 and 8, 66.99 points for Chris Mantilla. Next diver is Patrick Jeffrey, and he's going to do his forward 3 1/2 somersaults. He needs 8s to really move beyond Pichler if he can do it.
That was a very nice forward 3 1/2 somersault pike. I think he's going to be hanging right around that 8 level, so he's still fighting for that place on the team. Came into today's rounds with a lead, but he's leveled out the field by missing a couple of dives. Now look, Patrick's going to go in the water nice and cleanly, and just a little separation of his feet as he goes in the water. That would be really a slight deduction, half a point.
And that half a point really is what cost him, because he needed more 8.5s than 8s, so he's still a bit behind David Pichler. Last round is coming up. You don't want to miss this. It's going to be good. We're in the final round now. This is it. This will determine the top 2 divers who will be on the World Championship team. And after 9 rounds, Chris Mantilla has a comfortable lead. And really, the battle is for second between Pichler and Jeffrey. Only 4.5 points separate them. So let's take a look now at Pichler. He's going to do a back 1 1/2 somersault, 3 1/2 twist, 3.2 degree of difficulty. He needs high scores to put all the pressure on Patrick Jeffrey if he wants to make this team.
I think it's real interesting, the strategy here. All 3 of these divers, Patrick Jeffrey, who's in 3rd, David Pichler, who we're looking at right now in 2nd, and Chris Mantilla are doing the same dive in this round, 3.2 degree of difficulty. Pichler does a nice clean dive. It's a little bit sideways going in the water. He's got a little torque in his body, and his feet were not as stretched as they could be to get the real high scores. Let's see if we can tell. There his feet are a little crossed in the twist. Now, he's just a little, his feet are falling to that left side a little bit, and we didn't see a real good toe point. It's still a very nice dive. There is pressure to Patrick Jeffrey with those high scores going into this last dive.
More 8s than 7.5s, and that sets the mark. Chuck Wade now from Woodlands Diving Team in Texas. He's doing the reverse 3 1/2 somersault tuck, a 3.4 degree of difficulty.
Now, even though Chuck is probably not in any position to make this team, the top 2 go, and he's in 4th place right now. This is his hardest dive. And if he's going to be a contender in 1996, he needs to do this dive well. He needs to show the judges that he can consistently do it well. Not bad. If he'd kicked up and been a little bit less arched going in the water, he could have received those 8s on this dive. He's going to get just below those, not quite enough rotation to get up into that 7 and 8 range. Look where he kicks out and the arch in his back. There, he knows he's struggling just a little bit to make the dive. Now let's watch it from overhead. Reach up, right up above his head. Very nice. That's a great tuck position. He's in a very tight tuck. He needs to do that to spin fast. Just a little more rotation, and he's got that dive.
A bit more work possibly, and we might see him on future teams, but these are low scores, 5s and 6s for Chuck Wade.
Good left.
All right, here's our leader, Chris Mantilla. All he needs are 6s on this back 1 1/2 somersault with 3 1/2 twists to surpass David Pichler.
He hadn't received less than a 7.5 in both round 1 and 2. And that was a great dive. A back 1 1/2 with 3 1/2 twists made the team easily, won the World Championship trials at 18 years old very, very comfortably.
Who would have thought the rookie would do that?
Teenager.
Makes it look easy for a young lad, huh?
What a thrill it is to watch him dive and dive so confidently.
And here's that appreciative crowd.
He said to me last week, Dave, he came back and said, I think I can make it.
There you go. 2 10s, 9, 9.5, 90.24 points. Next, it comes down to the last diver in the field. To make the team, he needs 8 1/2s. Patrick Jeffrey, back 1 1/2 somersault, 3 1/2 twist, 3.2 degree of difficulty.
You see what he needs to make this team, the top 2 go. David Pichler will go if he does not receive the 8 1/2s on this dive. This is a ton of pressure on Patrick Jeffrey, the last diver.
He didn't make it.
No, he didn't. He had too much splash as he went in the water. The dive in the air was beautiful, but he went in the water and relaxed just a little bit, so he's not going to make the World Championship team.
And here's David Pichler. He's outside. He's not sure exactly what's going on. Someone come out and tell him what's happening. Maybe that's what's going on right now.
Well, that look of fear on his face, I don't know what happened. I don't know if I even want to go in there and find out. He is on the World Championship team. Patrick Jeffrey had a valiant effort. He did a great job most of the way through the contest, but like I said, he had to miss dives in order not to be on this team, and he did miss slightly in 2 rounds.
Well, you're looking at Chris Mantilla. Oh, yeah, there's David Pichler. Somebody invited him in. Tell him he's on the team. All right, David. We'll be back with our winners right after this.
Congratulations, champ.
Thanks.
I heard your coach, Ron O'Brien, say that a week ago you said to him, Coach, I think I can make this team. What led you to that realization?
My dives were just starting to go my way for once, and I finally learned how to compete very well. I think I put it together here.
I know you put it together here. David, you were outside after you did your last dive, before Patrick did his, and you stayed out there afterwards, and I saw a look of confusion on your face. What was going on?
Well, I felt my last dive was really good. It felt better than it scored, and then I didn't watch any scores until after that. Then I looked where everyone was, and then from that I thought maybe that I didn't really think I was going to end up in second. So I was a little worried, but I stood outside. I didn't want to see it happen. So I just waited out there.
Congratulations to both of you. It's a wonderful team, and good luck in Rome.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Only 2 veteran Olympians make this team.